We've talked a lot on this show about how there's never been a better time to be a fan of horror than right now. Like I picked the perfect time to get on the board.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's, there are so many like legacy sequels and revivals of these excellent franchises and shitty ones. Like I know what you did last summer.
Yeah.
But then also it's like, the joke is that Halloween starts in April now, that like as soon as Easter's over, it's Halloween. And some people are like, oh yeah, no, I put out my Halloween decorations for Easter. And it's like a whole movement of people like spooky and horror. I mean,
well, yeah, because there's like that zombie that came back on Easter or whatever.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
No, I've apparently made too many jokes about that on this show.
Oh, you got a note?
No, I got death threats. Technically, it was a note. It was just a bunch of magazine letters that were all cut out. But yeah, no, it's great. I was showing, I work from the desk that we do this show from. Mm-hmm. And when I'm on work calls and stuff that have video associated, the people on the call with me just look behind me and can see my shelf of collectibles. So it's nice because I get to show it to a lot of people. It's a pride point for me. But right at head level are my horror stuff. It's, Michaels and ghost faces and classic monsters and Jigsaw and whatever. But one of the people, and it made me laugh because of what we've been doing lately, one of the people in the meeting was like, no, Art the Clown. And it was like, well, NECA hasn't made one yet that they have released. They have made one. Technically they made two because one of them is him as Santa Claus. But they're releasing them and he comes with like the big trash bag and a bunch of like, he comes with the whip with razors and the like armchair arm.
I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And I've got it pre-ordered, and him and John Carver from Eli Roth Thanksgiving. I'm waiting for both of them and I'm super excited. But, we've been watching The Terrifiers. I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. We just watched Terrifier 2, which was fantastic, by the way. Yeah. Absolutely loved that movie. But the thing that I think we should also mention about how good of a time it is to be a horror fan is gaming. Mm-hmm. Because, I love video games. I think that of all the nerdy things I imbibe, movies, comics, or whatever, the video games are the thing that I enjoy the most. It's the thing I put the most time into. I'm one of those people that like story-driven single-player stuff, but I also I really like things like, Soulsborne games, or my brother Alistair and I stream every Thursday from his YouTube, which if you want to check out, it's Alistair Graves. You can find his stuff in our Child's Play episode. You can always find his YouTube and subscribe. We'd love to have you and to have you in the chat. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. But we'll play No Man's Sky, or we like this game called Stranded Deep that was absolute garbage. But right now we're playing 7 Days to Die.
It was a lot of fun to watch, though.
It was terrible to play. But, we've mentioned Dead by Daylight in this show a handful of times because I love that game. I'm terrible at it, but I like watching people play it. And they have everybody, almost. They have from like Michael Myers and Leatherface all the way to like Pinhead and Pyramid Head from Silent Hill and Nemesis from Resident Evil. It's so great. Yeah. But we're also getting these wonderful individual games. There was the Evil Dead game, and there's the Friday the 13th game, both of which aren't being supported anymore. And that sucks because they're that it's 1v4, a killer versus survivors. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game came out, and that is similar, a little different. I played it for the first time today. Oh, yeah? Oh, my God. It's so fucking good. I got into a lobby where I got to play Leatherface. And it's not like Dead by Daylight where you need to make a build and use different abilities. He's a guy with a fucking chainsaw. It's if you find someone that is running away from you, you are bigger and faster and you have a fucking chainsaw. So good. It is so much fun. But we've gotten trailers for some pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Within the last month, we got a trailer. We already had Alien Isolation, which you and I both have played and is incredible.
Love that game.
I have on my wish list the Quiet Place game. The only reason I haven't pulled the trigger is it's a little quick, is what I'm hearing. 15 hours, but it's still like $40. Yeah. So I don't know. It looks great. And I love that series. You and I it was a house at Horror Nights last year. We watched all of them basically in a week to gear up for day one, which was my favorite movie last year. Yeah. It was incredible. But now we've got trailers for a fucking Hellraiser game. Yeah, which
kind of dropped out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, they dropped it like a fucking hot hammer, and it's the fact that it's all the Cenobites, the fact that it's like Butterball is in it, fucking Doug Bradley is voicing Pinhead, Clive Barker, I think. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure Clive Barker wrote the story. I think it's based off of a short story of his.
Yeah, probably.
All I know is that you and I are also big fans of that series, and it's very tumultuous roller coaster ride of a franchise.
Putting it nicely.
Yeah. But then like within the last week, we got a trailer for a Halloween game that is written and scored by John Carpenter.
Right.
Where there is that I can't remember the phrase, but 1v whatever.
Yeah.
Killer mode that's multiplayer, where one person plays as Michael and the others play as like Bob and Linda and Lori. And then there's also a single player story mode. And I was like, okay, single player story. You're probably going to play as Lori, or you're going to play as Loomis, or somebody involved, or maybe it's their own story. Nope. You just play as Michael. And it's about, it takes place right after the babysitter murders is what I've heard. And it's you trying to get away. Holy shit, dude. That's a dream of mine.
Yeah.
Well, the video game aspect of it is great, but it's also a dream of mine to murder a bunch of people on Halloween.
And then have to like run away from Donald Pleasance.
I wouldn't run away from him. I'd run into his arms. Welcome, foolish mortal. No, welcome to the Third Channel Podcast,
where we delve into the horror franchises you love from the perspectives of a lifelong horror fan.
And a newbie to the genre who hanged himself in a room where eventually bones break and you hear a bunch of glass shattering. I'm PJ.
And I'm Derek.
And today, the only thing we're here to talk about is horror. And also the Haunted Mansion. The reason I bring that up, the Haunted Mansion, is skipping through YouTube or whatever. I saw that clip. I was a Disney person.
Yeah.
So you are currently, and I used to be. It just got too expensive.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that on that show, but man, I missed that ride. Classic for a reason. I just think it's so good. It is as good as Freddy's Dead is bad.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This is an interesting one because you and I typically will sit down during the week and we will watch it at least once together. Right. And then you will typically watch it again alone. But because we're trying so desperately hard to get enough of these in like saved and published and ready to go, and we're trying to double feature the movies twice in a night and really get ahead so we can enjoy horror nights kind of guilt-free.
Yeah.
I did not have the scheduling availability to watch this with you. Right. I watched this just now.
Yeah, which is probably, a good thing in the grand scheme of things.
Well, yeah, maybe it'll help me remember anything that happened in it. But the point is that typically we go into these reviews and we have an idea of what the other one thinks.
Yes.
We commentate on it together. We make the jokes together. I have no fucking idea what you think about this movie. I have an idea because I've seen your Letterboxd review of it. It's abysmal, but I hated it. I fucking hated it.
And we've talked about hating it for I feel like weeks now. With every other Nightmare movie, we've been oh my God, just dreading.
And then it's really good?
No.
No. I'm saying the last few, even starting with Dream Master.
Yeah.
And then that was surprising. Dream Child was the one that we were dreading. Yeah. And then that one was, I
was like, man, I really liked
It's my third favorite in this series. And I didn't expect that. And then this one.
Yeah. I like it a little more. I would say what did I say about Jason Goes to Hell? It's just a movie that kind of exists.
Yeah. Really quickly for the audience at home. I am on a new medication that is drying my mouth out. So you're going to hear this noise. because I've got something in my mouth to help with that. So I knew that I was going to do it just then, so I wanted to get out in front of it. Please continue. It just exists.
Yeah. And I kind of feel the same way about this one.
Okay.
I don't hate it.
Oh,
but I don't like it.
I hate it. I feel like this movie exists in spite of the rest of the franchise. I feel like this is a movie that in its storytelling and its existence spits on the face of the rest of the goodwill that these movies have built. It ignores any of the interesting things that the franchise has ever done. It is so tonally everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is that the verbiage of that I pulled from a different review that I read because I was interested. I pulled that from Walker, who gave this movie a 0.5 star.
Really?
He defends the remake with Rorschach in it. He defends that movie. He loves that movie. But he gave this one a 0.5 star like I did, and he reviewed it into the fucking ground. And what the biggest thing that I agreed with, that I resonated with his review, is tonally it's everywhere. This movie discusses the fact Freddy Krueger committed a genocide. He killed every child on Elm Street, in that neighborhood, in Springwood.
Yeah.
He killed them all. And then he's the fucking Wicked Witch of the West. And he's like
Bugs Bunny
doing like fucking jumping things with the power glove on the Krueger glove. And it's like, I don't know, man, for the darkest storyline, it is the most dumb, and the effects all look terrible. And that also spits in the face of the film franchise. Yeah. Which is a visual effects masterpiece, spectacular. And this one is, oh my God, it's just awful.
Yeah. He looks the worst he's ever looked.
He looks like they sometimes action figure companies or doll companies will make, they want it to look like real skin. So you bend the arm and it's that rubber kind of plasticky and it folds in weird places. That's what he looks like, a rubber doll.
Yeah, he does.
And I hate it.
Yeah, it looks a bit more like they went to a Spirit Halloween store and were like, oh, well, yeah, there's our guy right there. Let's just put that on him.
The other thing that I don't like about it is he doesn't feel the same. Robert Englund, he feels checked the fuck out. Yeah. He feels like the reason he's being so silly is he's like, well, they can't fire me and I don't want to make this fucking, because Dream Child is the perfect end. It is perfect. He gets held indefinitely in the womb of his mother because he was a bastard born of rape. Great. Lock him away. It's a good narrative ending. So to drag him back out because, I got a baby. It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this is one of those where, like, storyline wise, it almost feels like there's a missing movie in between. Like, I can see us getting to this point, but the drop off from Dream Child to this one,
you need a hand. Yeah. You need it to hand it off. The fucking audacity to do a title card of 10 years later. It's like, we don't fucking care. We don't know any of these people. They're all terrible, by the way. They thought they ate with that fucking Billy Zane sister casting. They thought they ate. They were like, oh, people are going to come check this. Titanic is the biggest thing ever. We got his sister. Great.
Yeah. Titanic hadn't happened at this point, but...
Had it not?
No.
I don't even know when this fucking movie came out.
1991.
When did Titanic? Is that
97?
So what you're saying is that the guy with the ponytail who was the video game kid, that's not Leonardo DiCaprio?
No.
Did they tell them that?
No.
Did the production tell wardrobe and the director that wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio?
Probably.
That was actually Breckin Meyer? A dumb name for a dumb guy. What's the first time? What happened around the first time you can remember seeing this movie? Schmoobie.
This is one that I don't have a good recollection of.
Yeah.
Other than, seeing it and not liking it.
Yeah.
Because if I had issue with the jokiness of Freddy in The Dream Child, this is just nonstop. He's basically just a cartoon character.
Yeah. He's a cartoon character that's built, even the one-liners are like ridiculous.
Yeah. And I don't mind certain movies, like, because you'll hear me talk about certain movies where I'm like, oh, that movie is like a living cartoon.
Sure.
But they have to fit the aesthetic. Like Ghoulies 3 or Gremlins 2 are like living cartoons.
Yeah. Well, even outside of this genre, when I look at Bullet Train, because I recently watched that movie, Bullet Train is great. Yeah. But Bullet Train is a fucking it's an anime. Yeah. The whole thing feels like that. It feels like a cartoon. All their weird music choices and the way that it all flashes on the screen. I love that aesthetic. This is the pendulum is swinging too far. Mm-hmm. I distinctly remember seeing this movie for the first time. And I remember exactly the first spoken words that I gave you. It's John Doe's on the airplane and the woman next to him flies up and out of the plane. And I looked at you and I was like, man, this is going to be dog shit. I knew it. From that moment, I was like, oh, this is going to be terrible. And then I was surprised. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought it was going to be terrible, but I was surprised by just how everybody knows that this rug pull's coming, just how bad it could be. Whap, whap.
Yeah. It's not good.
No, it's not. And this is the part of these franchises that bums me the fuck out is we are because Scream, the pendulum swings again. Yeah. You have 3 and 4. Everyone kind of agrees are the weaker. Which one is weaker? Fine. We've also mentioned on this show many times that those lowest lows in that franchise are infinitely better movies than the lowest lows in most other of these franchises because Scream was created by somebody with a vision and carried out by intelligent writers and great actors. So the pendulum upswings when you go back to new ideas, fresh takes, even though it's kind of sequely and it's got the Mocker House or whatever, it still swings back up. The quality goes back up.
Yeah.
But these don't. Like, up in Freddy, at least, you get New Nightmare, but that's so different.
Yeah.
And you get Freddy Versus, and that's also different. And the remake is fucking garbage. So it's like, oh man, the last good Freddy movie is Dreamchild, which I love, but it's like, I would love to have had more. I don't know that he would still be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't.
Robert Englund.
Yeah, the last time that Robert Englund got in the full Freddy makeup and costume that I'm aware of is for, I assume, a Halloween episode of the Goldbergs sitcom.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it takes place, I think that show takes place in the 80s.
Okay.
And so I guess like the bit is that movie is out and so he appears to the mom in that show.
Okay. How does he look? I mean, that's got to be kind of recent.
Yeah. I mean, it's within probably the last like 5 to 10 years because that show's been on the air for probably a decade. But I've just seen some stills of it. I haven't actually seen the episode, but yeah, that is the last known that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Because it's 3 things, right? All I want is to see one more Friday movie before Kane gets too old. And he was a stunt performer for the majority of his young life. So he's going to deal with things like, a painful back, arthritis. Those people suffer as a result of their art. And so before he gets too locked in, before he gets too old, I'd love to see Kane be Jason again. I'd love to see Doug Bradley do Pinhead one more time. He said he would do it. He said he would put the makeup back on. I'd love to see him do Pinhead. But the thing I want more than any of that is I would love to see one more Nightmare movie told from a modern perspective that doesn't need sequel bait and get Robert Englund to do it one more time.
Yeah. It's kind of the gift that is Brad Dourif just being kind of the voice of Chucky is that he can continue to do that.
And it's his favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I think for most of these people, the roles that I just mentioned are probably their favorite things. Maybe not during, you get burnt out. It is the thing of, I'm sure at some point in Robert Englund's career, he went, everybody just wants Freddy. Nobody wants to see, I was the Phantom of the fucking Opera.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, he was, but it wasn't good. But then I watched clips of it and it's like, that's embarrassing. But I'm sure there's a point where he's like, well, I don't want to be Freddy forever.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, Freddy bought everything I've ever had. Like in my adult life up to where I'm at right now, the money that I have to give my family and whatnot, it's like, yeah, Freddy paid for all that. And I think you learn to love it like kind of posthumously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Freddy's dead. The final nightmare. They saved the best for last.
Is that what you think?
Did Rachel Talalay write that as well?
Yeah, she probably did.
It was like story by, and I was like, get out of here, Rachel. Just when you thought it was safe to sleep, Freddy Krueger returns in this 6th installment of the Nightmare on Elm Street films as psychologist Maggie Burroughs, tormented by recurring nightmares, meets a patient with the same horrific dreams. Their quest for answers leads to a certain house on Elm Street where nightmares become reality. Here's my only problem with that. Okay, they say the best for last feels like go fuck yourself. But my big problem with that is Maggie Burroughs is suffering from the same nightmares. Do you know how we find that out?
How?
Yaphet Kotto literally says he has the same dreams that you have.
Yeah.
That's it. Yaphet Kotto is so good in this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a note that's like Yaphet Kotto. Yaphet Kotto is to this movie as Sir Anthony Hopkins is to Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah. He's giving a performance that this movie does not deserve.
No. But that's because he's just fucking good.
Yeah. It's just that, and it's kind of a bit like, I mean, he's underutilized in Dream Warriors, but it's like Larry Fishburne. Where it's like, he's a bit player in that, and it's still like, oh no, I remember him. And he has a personality and he does a thing.
I'll explain exactly that, but in real time. I remember Nancy and I remember Kirsten.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Dr. Gordon because we make a lot of jokes about that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember Nancy's dad's name. I have no idea. I don't even remember the name of that actor, and he is in everything and I love him. And I can't think of it right now.
John Saxon.
Thank you. But Lawrence Fishburne's character is named Max.
Yeah.
And I will never forget Max because Max was cool as hell. Max and Kincaid. Those are the cool. And I think, Joey's the deaf one?
Joey's the deaf one.
See, I'm playing the game that I made you play last week, but nobody's making me do that.
Yeah. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, was released September 13th of 1991.
I wonder if it was a Friday.
It probably was.
There was.
I was alive for the release of this film.
I would be alive 3 years after the release of this film. I'm going to live much longer than
you. At this point in the timeline, then, you are nothing but a dream child.
Not even.
It's directed by Rachel Talalay, who also wrote with Michael DeLuca, and the producers are Robert Shea and Aaron Warner. The cinematographer for this is Declan Quinn. They had worked on The Kill Off, which was a crime drama, Blood and Concrete, a crime comedy with Billy Zane, Flawless, which was a 99 crime drama directed by Joel Schumacher. He also shot Hot Tub Time Machine 2.
Oh.
And then most recently, he shot Descendants, The Rise of Red, which is a 2024 Disney Channel movie.
Yeah. What I will say is that him having like an embarrassing sort of non-existent career makes a lot of sense because this is the ugliest, flattest, most, not to jump into the review, but when the sequence happens where they're continuing to try to drive out of Springwood and they just keep circling back, that is the most frustrating, boring, flat bullshit shot. You could have done really cool shit. Could be
interesting because we've seen a time loop before and we really liked it.
But you're doing things like you're doing wipes.
It's bizarre
with no time jumps. I hate it. I hate this the way this movie looks.
The most important thing that that Declan Quinn shot was the filmed stage productions of Rent, Shrek the Musical, and Hamilton.
Kind of makes sense because when you think about it, a play in a lot of ways, when you are the viewer of that play with the proscenium stage, is two-dimensional. So that explains why everything in this movie is two-dimensional. Yeah. Even the characters. Please continue.
It is edited by Janice Hampton, who had also been the editor for Hairspray, Crybaby, and Serial Mom. Those are all directed by John Waters. She was the editor on Ghost in the Machine, which was in 1993, directed by Rachel Talalay. She worked on Thinner, the Tom Holland Stephen King adaptation from 96. Tom Holland, who directed Child's Play.
Not Spider-Man, by the way, guys.
Yeah, not to be confused. Soul Survivors, a 2001 horror film. Cabin Fever 2, which was directed by Ty West. And then Hashtag Horror, a 2015 slasher. The budget for this film is around the same as the $9 million that it was last time.
But last time, it was in a completely different decade.
Yes. But also, and I don't mean anything by this.
Sure.
But the range for the budget on this is $9 to $11 million.
Man, $11 million might be able to buy you 2 planes.
in this economy. The box office brought in $34.9 million, which is over the $22.1 million of the last film.
That's disgusting.
No.
I am repulsed. The fact that this movie made a cent over the last one makes me physically nauseous, and I quit the podcast.
Oh my God, over this? Wow. Guys, he's gone.
No, I need the paycheck. I'm back.
Okay. This is actually the highest grossing opening weekend for the series until the release of Freddy vs. Jason.
I guess it's probably the wait.
Well, yeah, it's that they said this is the final one. We're done after this.
Yeah.
Basically, when Dream Child became the lowest grossing film of the series, Freddy's Dead was then written to be that final movie, and it did so well that it became becoming the third highest grossing in the series. So the studio was then open to continuing with New Nightmare a couple years later, and then eventually Freddy vs. Jason. But that took still forever to get to. The director and writer of the story is Rachel Talalay. We've mentioned her several times through this. She was a producer on Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. She was also a producer or did production stuff on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master, John Waters' Hairspray and Crybaby, as well as the producer of Book of Love, which was directed by Robert Shea and written by Williams Kotzwinkle, who we've mentioned before.
Kotzwinkle. You can never forget a name like Kotzwinkle.
You never will. And then she was also the producer on The Borrowers, the film about the little people starring John Goodman.
Okay.
And then she was a director for Ghost in the Machine, which was a sci-fi slasher in 93. Tank Girl, a dystopian sci-fi film based on a comic, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know the publisher of the comic, but the comic's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really like acid poppy. It's really good. Yeah.
And then later she would also direct A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, which is a 2020 Netflix movie. And then she did a lot of TV work, including being like a producer or a director on Ally McBeal, Supernatural, Doctor Who, Sherlock, Riverdale, and Doom Patrol. So she's done a lot of TV stuff.
Man, 4 of those shows have the most horrific, toxic fan bases on Earth. The only reason I loop Doctor Who in the conversation of having a toxic fan base is because of Dylan.
Yeah.
We mentioned, I think it was Dream Child. We mentioned that Dylan loves Doctor Who, and God, Dylan makes me just yuck, you know?
Yeah. We're not going to have him back on for a long time.
No, Jason X.
Oh yeah. That's like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yuck.
Yeah. Forget everything I said. The writer of the screenplay and also the executive producer on this film is Michael DeLuca. He had done 7 episodes of Freddy's Nightmares. He had also written In the Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter film.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, don't be involved in this movie. That's in my top, like, that's gotta, In the Mouth of Madness has to be in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
He also wrote on Judge Dredd, the 1995 Sylvester Stallone film.
Okay, now we're back on track.
And then he was the executive producer on Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, The Mask, which was directed by Chuck Russell, Lost in Space, which was directed by Stephen Hopkins, and then Blade 1 and 2.
That is all over the place.
Yeah.
Because like Blade 1, Blade 2, The Mask, all of those things are great. Most everything else is bad.
Lost in Space.
Haven't seen it.
I loved it as a kid. I'm sure it's bad, but I loved it. Producer Robert Shea, we've talked about him. He gets a nice little cameo in this one early on.
What's funny is that I think this is my favorite cameo of his.
Yeah, because he gets to wear the glove.
Because he's obviously like a projection of Freddy, but he's got a lot of dialogue, but they don't make him up in any ridiculous way. He just looks like Robert Shea.
Yeah. The other producer is Aaron Warner, who had been a production coordinator, supervisor, or executive on Ghoulies, Trancers, Hairspray, Ghost in the Machine, Tank Girl, Independence Day, like the Will Smith film, Alien Resurrection.
Bad.
And then most importantly, and this is one of the strangest things I found.
Do you want me to do it?
You can. Aaron Warner is also the producer on all 4 of the Shrek films that are currently out.
Jesus Christ.
And more strange than that is the voice of the big bad wolf in all of those movies.
These are the things, these right here, these are the things that keep our fans coming back.
Oh, yeah.
All 10 of you guys.
They are Warner was also the first person to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature due to Shrek.
That's cool.
The music is done by Brian May, who is an Australian film composer.
Not of Queen.
No, I have a note about that.
Yeah.
So
music is good in this.
He was also the composer for, I like it. He was the composer for a sci-fi horror film called Patrick in 1978.
That means nothing to me.
He was also the composer for Mad Max.
Oh.
Thirst, which was a 1979 horror film. Nightmares, a slasher from 1980. Road Games with Jamie Lee Curtis, the thriller.
Oh, I love that movie.
Love that movie. Mad Max 2.
Okay.
And then a
Did
horror
we get
movie.
Thunderdome?
No, he didn't do Thunderdome.
Damn it. Thunderdome has the best music.
Yeah, it does. He also was the composer on Dead Sleep, which was a 1990 horror film starring Linda Blair, and then a slasher film called Dr. Giggles that I feel like we've probably mentioned before.
Yeah.
But when the film was released in the UK, soon after the death of Freddie Mercury of Queen, and the score of the film was composed by Brian May, many people were not aware that he was a different person than the member of Queen.
Yeah, legendary guitar player, yeah.
So they were like thinking it was in really bad taste that he would be in a movie called Freddy's Dead.
I didn't even think of that until just now.
Just a weird coincidence there.
Why were so many people in England, of all places, concerned about the composer of a horror movie?
I don't know.
Is that a thing over there?
Maybe.
Across the pond?
Yeah, maybe they love Freddy over there.
Which one?
All of them.
Krueger? Mercury? Fazbear?
That third one especially.
I'm trying to think of other Freddys. Freddie Roosevelt. He was a Rough Rider.
The previous 5 Elm Street films had obviously helped the finances of New Line Cinema, earning it the nickname The House That Freddy Built, which we've talked about way back when. But the studio had also begun developing other franchises like Critters or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So Robert Shea had said, frankly, it was time to move on. We had other projects that we wanted to focus on. So they decided that the 6th entry would be the final film of the Elm Street franchise. So director Rachel Talalay had produced most of the previous installments and was keen to helm this 6th film as its director, and had a number of ideas that would help refresh the series, including not calling it like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, but giving it a different title.
Stupid.
And then incorporating more humor into this entry, which she felt was lacking from the previous films.
Lacking for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I like to imagine that she was like, no, I'm going to direct this one. I'm going to direct it. Let me get some advice. And she called Wes Craven. Wes Craven picks up and she's like, Wes, hey, it's Rachel Talalay. And he was like, nah, honey.
And she was like, man, that was a really funny bit he did. Freddy should do some funny bits.
And everybody was watching and she was like, oh, hey, Wes. Yeah, thanks for taking my... I had to fake a whole conversation.
Wow.
Because she didn't want to be embarrassed in front of like the Shays or whatever. Because
who does?
Like they were already like in Insidious or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how the timeline works out.
Last I checked. The production of Freddy's Dead coincided with the original airing of Twin Peaks, which was later acknowledged as an influence on this film.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more
they mentioned that
like,
in this movie.
They do, yeah. Because basically the influence is the more like kind of surreal, humorous aspects. And I mean, I don't know how much I really agree with that, but I guess, you know, at the time there probably wasn't anything else like that. So Twin Peaks is the best pull. Peter Jackson was originally hired to write the screenplay for this movie. He had written a draft, but it wasn't used. His original screenplay for Freddy's Dead saw like an aging Freddy who had grown weak within the dream world. And so teens of Springwood would have like parties where they would purposefully take sleeping pills to go into the dream world and just kick the shit out of Freddy.
That is so Peter Jackson.
Uh-huh.
It's like if you had a stamp with his face on it, that's the first thing you'd use it for.
Yeah.
That would have been so fucking funny. Imagine Robert Englund doing that. Stop, ow, bitches. That'd be so fucking funny.
And then the idea of a 16-year-old Jacob Johnson, being the son born to Alice Johnson and the Dream Child, as the major character, was also a original script idea written by Michael Almereda. Almereda. Yeah. But in the first draft of the film, Alice, now in her 30s, was killed by Freddy, And then Taryn, Joey, and Kincaid from Dream Warriors would have returned as the Dream Police. In the script, Taryn was the blade cop, Joey was the sound cop, Kincaid was the power cop. But Rachel Talalay really disliked that script and then had a replacement script by Michael DeLuca brought in to save the day, if you will.
Okay. Do you think that would have been really stupid, or do you think that would have been fucking metal?
I think any way to get those three characters back in you killed us and we've found our way back to now being dream, the Dream Police. I don't know. I think that's an interesting idea.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Bill and Ted. Because the first movie is all about their adventure, but the second movie is about the people that make that adventure possible.
Yeah.
And so having the final chapter of this movie be Freddy's a renegade demon in a governance of dreams, and these characters that were killed by him were given a second lease as cop. That would be fucking great.
I would have loved that. But personally, because one, I think it serves a better wrap up of the series.
Absolutely.
Because it's you have, Nightmare and then eventually Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors, where, Wes Craven comes back and he writes the script for that. They bring back Nancy.
Yeah.
And he wanted it to be the last one.
Yeah.
Kind of like in John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wanted Halloween 2 to be it.
Right.
And, so he wrapped up that character story, kill her off. We go on. But okay, let's bring back some more characters that are fan favorites, that are important to this franchise. You have Alice from the last two movies who gets killed. You're following her kid who we have introduced in the last movie. And then we get three big name hitters from the previous movies to come back. That would have been awesome.
You do an A plot, B plot for the whole story. Your A plot is Jacob and his friends. You've met the new teenagers, the new kids on the block, if you will. Mm-hmm. You meet them and they have their adventure doing whatever it is in Springwood that they are doing. And then you cut across your B story, which is fucking Alice dies and is then reunited with all of the kids that are fan favorites from whatever. Mm-hmm. And their stories are coinciding. They are working together to do something. And Freddy is trying to kill both sets.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
And in a perfect world, you reintroduce Patricia Arquette as Kristen. And she brings Nancy back to finish him off.
Honestly, that sounds so Avengers Endgame-y, but it's really not. You could do it very simply. You could do it really respectfully. These cameos could be fleeting. Yeah, I just think of the fucking council room in Bill and Ted 2 where they're all standing around Rufus, and it's that weird ethereal kind of glow. And I just think about how neat it would be to explore the sort of metaphysical and the spiritual side of this story, because it's always hinted at. Yeah. It's never dived into.
Yeah, and the closest we get is in this movie of dream demons giving him powers.
Honestly, I would be fine with splitting it into two movies. Freddy's back, then Freddy's dead.
Yeah.
I think that would be great. But instead, what we got was a poorly polished, shat out hunk of crap by Michael DeLuca?
Yeah.
Do you think he's alive? A lot of the people that we try to address on this show have perished, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, probably still alive.
I'm going to assume you're still alive, Michael DeLuca, you rat bastard. You and Jack Shoulder should burn in hell.
Wow.
They're the worst enemies of this series. And Rachel Talalay. The three of you guys should go. The three of you should be Freddy, and Freddy's dead and be dead.
Speaking of Rachel Talalay, so Robert Shea had gifted the directing duties to her. After 10 years of working at New Line Cinema in a bunch of different production capacities, she was a production assistant on Nightmare on Elm Street, a production manager on Nightmare 2, a line producer on Nightmare 3, the producer of Nightmare 4. She finally took a break to go work on a movie that she was working on personally. And then her husband, Rupert Harvey, was the producer of Nightmare 5.
Okay.
So still in the family.
I mean, mad respect for that. That's an awesome story. The trajectory of that, especially in the 80s as a woman, that's incredible.
Yeah. And so it kind of felt like her time to be the director.
It sucks that after working her way up the ranks, basically working her way up from rookie, from the bat kid who collects the bats at the end of the game to like the towel kid, all the way up to like, this is your first game up to bat. And then you swing the bat super hard and it goes flying into the crowd and crushes a man's skull. It's like the worst thing that you could have done.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like shortly after this, after Final Nightmare premiered, she was quietly let go from New Line. And she never returned to the studio and hasn't really ever worked with Robert Shea again. And I couldn't find any more information about that.
I mean, it has to be because of this.
I assume.
It has to be.
I mean, it made money.
It made money, but there are a lot of things that make money that are critically reviled that are so bad they damage the studio's reputation.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're willing to put... I was watching this and I had to pause it and go outside to Belle and be like, come in here and watch this. And it's when he's in his like shack and they throw the Molotov cocktail in there and the dream sperms are floating around him and they're like, you let us inside of you. And he's like, brah, brah, brah. And she was like, what? Is this like the TV movie? What is this? And I was like, oh no, maybe this hit theaters. They just gave up.
Yeah, maybe. So John Carl Buechler, who directed Friday 7, The New Blood, he was the chief special effects artist on this film and returning to the series after being the same role for The Dream Master. He also contributed to the film's like 3D Freddy Vision climax, which, to speak of that, the last 10 minutes of this movie are in 3D. It made it New Line Cinema's first 3D film release.
Yeah.
And then to cue the audience to put on their 3D glasses, Maggie puts on 3D glasses in the film. But the effect has been eliminated for any sort of home release, VHS, Blu-ray, television, any of that, with the exception of the British and French rental versions of the film and the US Laserdisc version. So if you can find a copy of that, you can watch it in 3D.
If you find the copy of it and buy it, get it delivered to your home, understand that when you open that box, you've made a whirlwind of terrible decisions.
Rachel Talalay talked about how apparently while processing the film in 3D, the lab developed a print accidentally and sent them a 2-second clip from the then unreleased Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So
wild. Just
whoever was processing that film. And then finally, I thought this was interesting. We don't always talk about the marketing for these movies, but obviously with this one being, the final nightmare.
Yeah.
As a publicity stunt for both Freddy's Dead and the comic storyline that was being released around the same time, New Line Cinema held a mock funeral for Freddy Krueger at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in LA.
That's great.
People there from the film series were Alice Cooper, Leslie Dean, Sean Greenblatt, Ricky Dean, Logan, Breckin Meyer, Toby Sexton, Lisa Zane, Lisa Wilcox, and Whit Hertford. And then Rachel Talalay was obviously there. And then on the encouragement by New Line Cinema, the Los Angeles mayor at the time, Tom Bradley, declared September 13th to be Freddy Krueger Day. But this was heavily criticized for glorifying a mass murderer, which Robert Englund then said, well, we have to separate crime reality from movie escapism.
What's crazy is that is being like, well, no, we can't glorify a criminal with something federal. You can't, make a federal holiday out of a mass murderer. You want to separate felony, felons from anything to do with the federal government. You know what I mean?
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but nothing will ever kill me. Well, let's see now. First, they tried burning me. Then, they tried burying me. But this is my favorite. They even tried holy water. But I just keep on checking. Because they promised me that. They, the dream people, the ones that gave me this job, Dreams. I am forever. Too bad you're not.
So if in dreams Freddy is forever, does that in a way make him the dream master?
Yeah.
And if he's like the king of dreams, does the lead actress, does that make her the dream child?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
And then at the end, they do like this big fight scene. So I guess that would make Freddy the dream warrior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You solved it. That was the puzzle. The
thing I think is still funny is that at no point during any of this is the story in this movie still about Freddy getting revenge.
No.
It's kind of just the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got any more? Did we do it?
Wes Craven is the guy who did the first one. So that's why that next one, The New Nightmare, that's why it's got his name in it.
Okay, so yeah, this one starts with a digital map of the United States.
Well, first it starts with a stupid quote.
So the last several movies have started with a quote about dreams of some kind. I have not mentioned them because I didn't care.
It's just it's almost off-putting. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, it starts with a digital map and it's 10 years later.
Yeah, it's that and 10 years from now is just from when? From the events of the dream child?
No, from right now.
From right now.
It's whenever you're watching it. Okay. It's 10 years after.
So now in 2035 is when this is taking place.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is why I felt it so weird that they kept needing a phone. Go find a phone.
Yeah, they went and found a pay phone, and then they were surprised that it wasn't working.
Use your brain link.
Yeah.
Yeah, use your Elon Musk chip.
But like you said before, all of the kids in Springwood, Ohio, which is this is the first time that it's been located in Ohio. That has actually been put out there into the canon.
Okay.
And all the kids are dead.
Yeah.
Except for one. And all the adults have gone crazy because of this.
Which is, it's very cool. The concept of that is really cool. It is just a really, really valuable, Mickey Mantle baseball that you catch and immediately drop.
Yeah. No, because I don't hate that idea. And really when they go there for the first time and seeing how broken these people are, I think that can be interesting.
Yeah, but who are the people specifically that are broken?
Oh, Roseanne Barr and her at the time husband, Tom Arnold.
Now, did she, at this point in her career, did she have shitty little cornrows and was blowing Trump yet? Or
No. I don't think so. I think she was part of a really progressive for its time sitcom man.
And then all the kids in that sitcom die. Yeah. The opening of this movie is it sets you hear the phrase, it sets the tone. It's like the amuse-bouche or the hors d'oeuvres, it gives you an idea of what the movie's going to be like. And that is true for this one. But really what it is it sets the stank. Because it's just so dumb. It is immediately let's cram as much visual reference to the thing on the wing as possible. We're going to do the same kind of cuts or whatever. And then it just immediately explodes. It's a good set. It's a good airplane set. It's the effect out of the window and all of the storm that the plane is flying through.
And and when you're shooting it from the outside, it's a good little model of a plane.
Honestly, it's cute. The movement is silly, but it's not. Yeah. It didn't take me out of the movie. What took me out of the movie is John Doe's actor, whose name I do not know because I didn't care to look.
Sean Greenblatt.
Sean Greenblatt in this film is terrible.
Yeah.
From the first time we see him to his inevitable death, he is god awful.
Not great. John Doe is played by Sean Greenblatt. He was in Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, which was an 1989 horror comedy. And then he was in Newsies, the 1992 musical. And then he's in a movie called Time Lock, a sci-fi action film from 1996.
I wonder if he's just a theater guy.
Maybe. Or maybe he
with
did some
Newsies
TV work.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Doe was supposed to be Jacob from the previous film, but it was made very vague whenever they couldn't secure the return of Lisa Wilcox in any way. And so, that doesn't make any sense for the timeline of it taking place 10 years later.
Because he's like 27.
Yeah. Yeah. Even at most, if he's like a teenager, he was just born at the end of Dream Child.
Yeah. So he's an 18-year-old, 10-year-old. But he's like, the narrative purposes of this is that you very quickly realize this is a dream. And the way you realize that is this heavy-set redhead woman next to him is like, "Will you shut the fuck up? Eat your fucking slop." And then she literally goes flying out of the top of the airplane, like rips through the ceiling. It is so jaw-dropping funny.
Yeah.
It made me laugh tonight so hard that I had tears in my eyes. Because it's not good. It's not scary or evocative, or it does nothing but just look like a fucking Looney Tunes bit.
Yeah.
It looks like Bugs Bunny hit a button in the plane and she got ejected.
Exactly.
And then before you can catch your breath because you're laughing so fucking hard, he goes, "I was almost, and then falls out of the bottom of the airplane in the exact same way. I don't know. I don't understand.
No, because like in past films, we've had like, hey, the characters that we're going to kill, the teenagers or whatever, they have like a thing about them. We don't know who this is. Literally, his name is John Doe through the entire movie.
He goes, at one point, he's like, "That's the thing about amnesia." And it's like, well, how do you know?
Yeah.
You don't remember what that is?
Yeah. What, you read a book?
How'd you get here?
What is that, the script? But he wakes up in bed. I guess what I was getting out of that is his dreams all have to do with like falling.
Yes.
But there's no real given reason why.
No. And he says at one point, he says, "I need to change," to the flight attendant on his dream plane. He's like, "I need to switch seats. I'm afraid of heights." And it's like, that's the only thing that he says.
That's a good bit. Okay.
But that's not the caliber of what this series usually does.
Right.
And if it's demonstrated.
And if it's something that, yes, that's the difference. If it was mentioned like that and I didn't pick it up.
Right. Because you saw it 2 times.
That's a problem.
Yeah. He then experiences like the secret bad ending to the Pixar film Up. He wakes up and he goes to the window and he opens it and his whole house is now falling. But why do that? Why not you fall out of the airplane and then you like land in your room and just why does he wake up and then he's still falling?
Yeah. I guess it's that like you have dreams like that where you think you're out of it and then you're not really. And then he's just continuing to fall every time.
Has that ever happened to you? It is like a cliche. That is, I'm 31. That has never happened to me.
I have a hard time remembering my dreams. Almost never do I remember anything that goes on in my dreams. And that's like pretty much my entire life.
Yeah.
But I can't recall any time that I've like woken up and felt that way of like, oh man, that was like so many dreams in a row.
It's like movie and TV would make you think that quicksand is around every corner. And that every other time you wake up from a dream, you're still dreaming. And I've never experienced either of those things.
Yes. I think the main reason why they do this thing where he's in the house and it's falling is that it's very reminiscent of a classic film, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And so it gives this wonderful moment, everyone's favorite, where Freddy Krueger flies by literally as the Wicked Witch of the West.
And he says, "I'll get you my pretty and your little soul too," which... if he's getting him, he is getting his soul. So why would it be also? This script, man. No, who cares? Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it is so far. It'd be one thing if it was like a little more silly than we're used to from this character, from the series. But it is so far away.
Yes. And that's what I mean by it feels like there's a missing piece in between the last one and this one. Because with 3 to 4 to 5, it is incremental as it goes, like more one-linery, more goofy, more visual puns and things like that. And then this is just like, I don't know, whackity smackity. It's just.
Let me ask you a question. And with modern horror compared to 80s horror, it's a little difficult to answer this in kind of an objective way. Subjectively, are there any moments in Dream Child specifically where Freddy is a frightening character, where he is intimidating, where the things he is doing are frightening?
I'm trying to think.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah.
The thing he does to Dan, where the motorcycle that Dan is on, silly or otherwise, where it injects itself into his veins and tears his body apart just for it to be something he has to suffer through in his dream, feeling the pain, because you feel the pain in your dreams in these movies, feeling all that pain, going through that horror just to wake up and die in front of your, what you don't realize is the mother of your child's job, and she watches you die, and then he puppets his corpse to mock her.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really fucking dark. Is there any moment in this movie that's similar?
No.
It's everything he's doing to all of these people is silly or just kind of dumb. Like, it falls apart immediately. And this is a really good example of that. He's on the broom. This guy is falling. He's not doing anything to him while he's falling. He mocks him as the wicked witch and then flies away to leave him to wake up because he needs him.
Yeah.
Which is never explained.
No. I mean, the thing is like, it's Freddy making a bet on, he has killed all the kids in Springwood except for John Doe here. And so he's going to let John Doe leave the town in the hopes that he brings back Freddy's secret daughter.
Right. That he's hoping that he'll find her.
Right.
Because of a newspaper clipping that has nothing to do with the youth shelter that this woman works at. So what you're telling me right now is that Freddy Krueger in this movie is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddy's dumb is what the movie should be titled.
That's good. He eventually, he ends up, he crash lands across the street from 1428 Elm,
which is now apparently Freddy's house.
Yeah, that's where he hangs out. And then he stumbles and tumbles down this forever hill.
Okay, so in my notes, I wrote, he falls for so long, he should be dead 4 times.
Yeah. Have you seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Yes. Yes. And I'm so happy that you mentioned that.
And you have to, oh my God, I'm just putting this together. It's got to be a reference to this movie because it's over like the opening credits that happens where he tumbles down the hill. Well, the baby does.
Maybe. Yeah. It is for so long that it's jaw dropping. It is, he keeps falling and it's like, there is zero way this guy is. Now it's a dream.
It's a dream. That's what it is.
And maybe the thought was like, oh, it's like dream logic. Like he just keeps falling. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's like dream logic. But the thing is that the reason nobody in these dreams is like pee-peeing in their pants or going to work meetings without their clothes on is because that makes for bad TV. It makes for bad horror movie. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But he falls throughout the entire credits. He falls into neighboring town from Bikini Bottom, Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
It's like a spooky long road.
And then there is like a bus ticket window that Robert Shea is working at.
Yeah. So far, I have disliked everything.
Oh.
Up to this point. I have disliked the airplane thing is stupid. The connection to the house falling is stupid. Being a dream where the house is falling is so interesting, and building that set piece and doing that camera trick is so interesting, and to do fucking nothing.
Well, don't worry. They will reuse it later.
And they still don't do anything with it. This is the only part that makes me smile because I love Robert Shea, and he got lines, like funny camera facing, not background lines in this. And you can tell he is ecstatic.
Yeah.
Like his smile feels so genuine because he gets to kind of be Freddy. And it's like, good for you, bud. The ticket also it's like a long running body with a cartoon Robert Shea's face on it.
Oh, nice.
It's fantastic.
He's wearing the glove. He like cuts the ticket with it or whatever and hands it off. But yeah, I like that little moment.
And then we're back to weird fucking effects.
Yeah, because he gets hit by a bus that Freddy is then driving.
But it's flat.
Yeah.
The bus is like a mirage image.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it shimmers in for no reason.
Why?
Dream logic,
Make it,
baby.
Like, am I wrong to think that it would have been more like consistent with the series and feel more visually like resonant with the series if it had literally popped into frame in a puff of smoke? Like, You don't need to do weird fucking visual effects like video toaster shit. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just they had it to play with, so they pushed the button and did the thing.
I hate it. I do not like it.
But then they eventually slam on brakes, and John Doe goes flying through a force field like WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like we're at the edge of the town.
That's a good pull. Yeah. And it's like he goes, because like I think, and I could be wrong, but I think what it's supposed to be is that the impact of him breaking and him going flying and smashing through that barrier wakes him up.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like Freddy is looking from the barrier of the dream to being awake. But when the camera cuts back and he's looking at it through a Goofy the dog hole, like person shaped hole in it, it's like, oh my God, if I wasn't doing this show, if I was just a person who was like, you know what, it's closer to Halloween, I'm going to watch this series, I would have turned it off right there.
Yeah.
Because my patience is already tested here. I would have turned it off because it's ridiculous and it looks terrible. And then Freddy looks at it and he like tries to push his hand through it and then it closes. And Freddy looks like angry.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what the fuck? And
but it's like he must have known, because that force field you see a couple times. And so it's like, well, does that just mean that Freddy is stuck in Springwood at this point? Like he can't get out?
I guess.
But that's not really ever explained.
No, his motivation is never explained at all. He wants his daughter back.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you this. Why? Because it's like he doesn't really explain. Like, does he want to spend quality time?
I don't know. He wants her back because they took her away from him when she was a kid.
So he killed every kid. So now the motivate, but that doesn't make any fucking sense because they take her away because her mother finds his murder den. So he's already killed a bunch of these kids.
Yeah.
So you can't really say that's like you have like a heroin addiction and people are like, hey, we just caught you doing heroin. We're going to take like your car or whatever. And you're like, well, I'm only doing heroin because you took my stuff. And it's like, well, no, you've been doing it forever. You're Mr. Heroin.
Yeah. John Doe like wakes up and he has like a newspaper clipping, like you said, with the headline of Kruger woman still missing. And then he like walks to the next town over.
I wonder if you thought the same thing about the picture of her face.
I don't know.
That it looks just like woman Robert Englund.
Oh,
like it was weird. It looks like his sister.
Yeah.
So is that Kruger woman missing? Because I didn't remember the plot of the story at all. And I was like, oh, is it like a sister or something? Or is it like, what is happening?
I don't know. I didn't have that exact thought. I was more trying to figure out like the dates of things and how long these things like.
I love the difference of our process. Where you're like, well, when would this have taken place? And like checking the dates on the clipping, and I'm like, does he have a sister wife? What the fuck's the deal with this?
But we end up at a youth shelter with Maggie, who's a psychologist for troubled kids.
Yeah.
We're introduced to all of our main players here. Well, I'll just give a brief overview of like who and what they are, and then we'll talk about who plays them later. But Spencer is being reprimanded by his father. The things we learn about him: he loves TV and video games. He has made a pipe bomb.
Yes, to teach kids.
Yeah. And that his dad wants him to grow up just to be just like him.
And he is a tennis player who womanizes.
Yeah.
And he drinks. Yeah. And he hits him.
The parents are all bad in this movie, but also in this whole franchise. That's,
most of these franchises.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Smith had it right when he said parents just don't understand.
He also had it right when he, no. No, don't worry about it.
Tracy is then fighting. She's like being chased around because she was fighting one of the other kids who was hitting on her. She doesn't like to be touched, has major daddy issues, but for very good reason.
Yeah.
Which is revealed later. And her father is also revealed to be dead.
Yes. Yes.
And then Carlos has a cochlear implant. He is partially deaf because of his parents, is what I take it. by a couple comments that he makes in this.
I think it's not his parents. I think it's just his mother.
Okay.
But it's because of his dream.
Yeah.
Where the big long Q-tip happens.
And the three of them are planning on running away from this youth shelter.
Yeah. In order, Spencer, his performance is okay. Super mid. He should have been a supporting character, not like kind of one of the nebulous leads. Carlos is great. Yeah. His performance is so much fun and he puts so much energy into it and he delivers his lines so believably. His performance is great. And then the other one,
Tracy.
Yeah. She's god awful. Every line is stiff as a board and all of her emotion is way overacted. It's like before every take reading her dialogue in a mirror and like studying her own face. It's just stiff. And it's stiff and it's just like abrasive through the entire movie. And there's no real growth or change. It's just so that is those people. That's what I think about their performances.
Fair. I'd agree for the most part there. Maggie Burroughs is our lead. She's played by Lisa Zane. She was in Gross Anatomy, which was a 1989 medical comedy. Bad Influence, a psychological thriller from 1990. She was in Monkey Bone, the 2001 Brendan Fraser comedy, like dark comedy, directed by Henry Selick.
Yeah.
And then she did the voice of Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk in 2 episodes of the 90s Incredible Hulk cartoon.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And then she was in all 13 episodes of Dinotopia, which was a show in the early aughts. And she is the older sister of Billy Zane.
Well, no, that's actually a misnomer.
Huh?
Billy Zane is a character that she plays, so all of Billy Zane's roles are also her roles.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, she was also in Titanic.
And that's the only one that matters.
That's what I know her from. And then we are also introduced to Doc, who is played by Yaphet Kotto, who was in Ridley Scott's 1979 Alien. He was also in a thriller called Pretty Kill in 1987. The Running Man, which is a Stephen King adaptation, which is getting a remake.
I saw that, yeah.
About to come out. And then he was in a sci-fi horror film called The Puppet Masters in 1994. I believe he also reprises his role as a voice role in Alien Isolation that you mentioned
I think
before.
so. Yeah. Couple notes that I took about this entire sequence is once again, we are in a place where the budget fights the scope of what the movie wants to be because the set piece for the youth center is abysmal. It looks like it's from Tim Burton's Batman. Like it is so hyper stylized and there's there's a chain link. It is a government run facility.
Right.
And on the chain link fence is like a piece of plastic from a shipping container that is covered in spray paint. And the sign for youth center looks like it's made of cardboard and has fallen apart.
And then you just don't understand how bad it's gotten in 10 years. Okay.
Where?
10 years from now.
Right. But this isn't in Springwood.
No, it's right over the.
Right. So
it's right
we don't
next
even
door.
know where we are.
No.
It's just youth center. And that's all it says, by the way. It doesn't have a good example is a very prominent member of the medical world has kind of set up his roots in the Tampa Bay area. And it is Dr. Patel. And so there is the Dr. Patel Center for the Arts. There's the Dr. Patel, blah, blah, blah. All these hospitals have his name all over it. But you could expect to see a Patel Center for Troubled Youth or something. But it's not youth center. Are you young? Get in here, you fucking get in the center. And it's okay. And then inside is the inside looks like a corner office of somebody in Assault on Precinct 13. It is coffee cups and papers are everywhere. And even the guy who finds the pipe bomb and then Spencer starts to run away from him is come here, you little fuck. And it's are you going to hit him?
Yeah.
And it's just it feels so gritty for no reason.
It was the 90s.
I suppose. Oh, yeah. It's grunge.
It's the MTV generation. It's all of that.
It's that. It's Eddie Vedder wearing torn up pants, climbing stages. I get it.
Yeah. But Maggie has a meeting with Doc. He is a dream therapist, or at least he plays one on TV.
Which is lucky for them.
And she discusses her reoccurring dream a little bit. They look at this hang in there poster on the wall, that's about the dream demons or something.
Yeah.
And he talks about like the ancient dream demons they seek out the most evil person on the planet and then give that person the power to make our nightmares real.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who had that power in the mid to late 1940s?
I don't know.
Same person who had the Minions.
The cops that you were talking about, or whoever's running this place, they bring in John Doe.
And really quick, 2 second aside about that scene. He's in the alleyway and they're like, another junkie. Let's grab him. And it's like, he doesn't look like a junkie at all. He's standing in an alley. He's got a box of obviously prescription medication and he is taking a single pill. And they're like, junkie, get him. And it's like, oh my God. Thank God I was a child in the 90s.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have been a junkie too.
I think it goes to show that like what we keep saying is that,
all cabbages are broccoli.
But Maggie examines John Doe and he thinks he's been awake for 3 days. But she's like, looks like you've been awake for 3 weeks. Like, what's going on with you? And he tells her that if he falls asleep, that he probably won't wake up.
Yeah.
His acting is awful in this
Just
scene.
terrible. It's terrible. It's the thing of like, because Billy Zane, the character Billy Zane is, she is just so like, you need to tell me what's going on. What's up with you? Kind of concerned, but also like that kind of assertiveness that somebody who works with troubled youth would need to be. And he's just like, I'm out of my mind, man. If I go to sleep, I'm not going to wake up, man. And his line delivery is very much Capri Sun commercial. It's just fucking out of control.
Yeah.
He is also ugly as fuck. I hate that guy. No, he's fine. You would think that the makeup for this character would reflect the haven't slept in weeks. If you have a professional, like a medical professional looking at you and saying, you look like you haven't slept in weeks, and there's no theatrical makeup on you at all, that's a mistake. Yeah. You should have like the really sunken eyes, the Gerard Way, My Chemical Romance eyeballs.
But then they move into like their shared dream, where Maggie has like part of a dream where she gets these flashes of the Kruger woman in the newspaper clipping.
His sister wife, yeah.
Yeah, his sister wife, of course.
Is in front of a lighthouse or a water tower.
Yeah. And so she's like, from her POV, seeing a man playing tag with a little girl in a backyard, and then like a woman screams. And then at the same time, like John Doe is like trying to stay awake, but eventually falls asleep. And there's like blood dripping on his face at first. And then he gets up and leaves the room, and he's now in the Elm Street house, follows a little girl upstairs. And they kind of play with like in Dream Warriors with the like sleepwalking thing.
It looks terrible in this one though. He walks up a flight of stairs in the dream, and in real life he's walking up nothing. And they could have done something really cool with that, but they don't. It just is a shitty digital effect. And then the fucking security guard's like, nope, don't care about that. Yeah. And it's like, you don't care about that?
Yeah.
Really quickly, when he falls asleep and he's walking down into the house, like he rounds the corner and sees the house, it's the first time we get the Nightmare on Elm Street musical sting in the movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was waiting for it because I was hoping they wouldn't use it in this movie, if I'm being honest, but
you just pretend that this wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
But he ends up in a padded room and sees himself who then screams at him saying like help, like I'm your memory.
Yeah.
And
this feels like an avant-garde, like artsy piece of shit that would be at Sundance.
But that's what I think, like the Twin Peaks, like surrealism that they're trying to do here, like, or that we've put upon this movie after the fact.
Yeah. No, I don't think that we're putting that on. I honestly don't. I think that it is so obviously straining to be something interesting. It's like, it's just schlock, guys. Yeah. Freddy, you're not doing that with Freddy. Like, you might be able to do that with Watto, I guess, because, that movie's really serious.
It's about trade routes. But the next day, like Maggie and John, they talk about what happened in their dreams, and they realize that they've dreamt about the same little girl.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Oh, well, in order to help you remember stuff, because you have amnesia, let's go back to Springwood.
Yeah.
And that'll spur something on." And
this would be my favorite part of the movie if they did anything interesting with it at all.
Yeah.
They get into the van. Maggie and John Doe get into the van and they drive it into Springwood. And at the entrance of the town is like a circus, like a carnival.
Yeah. The Springwood Town Fair.
Yeah. And they get out and they go in.
Yeah.
And the three kids have to find.
Well, because it's revealed that
Yes.
Spencer and Tracy and Carlos had like been hiding in the van to then escape the next day or whatever.
Right. So she makes them go find a phone.
Yeah. And Spencer Lewis is played by Breckin Meyer. He was in The Craft, which we've mentioned a couple times, the supernatural horror film. He was also in Escape from LA, the John Carpenter film. He's in Road Trip and Rat Race. That's what I know him from.
Rat Race.
Yeah. That's the first thing I ever saw him in was Rat Race.
Okay.
And then he is also John Arbuckle in the two Garfield movies, the live action.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
The Bill Murray. Yeah. Wild.
Tracy Swan is played by Leslie Dean. She was in the Robert Englund directed 976 EVIL. She was also in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares, a horror comedy called Girlfriend from Hell, and then an action thriller called Midnight Ride that also starred Mark Hamill. And then Carlos Rodriguez is played by Ricky Dean Logan, who apparently is in both Back to the Future's Part 2 and 3 as two separate characters. I think he's part of Biff's gang in 3. I think.
Yeah.
And then he was in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie from 92. He is in the 1994 Roger Corman produced Fantastic Four film.
What the fuck?
He was like a busboy or something in that. And then he was in I don't know if it's like, I guess it's a music video for Ice Nine Kills. I think the song is called Meet and Greet, and it also has Joe Bob Briggs and Bill Moseley in the music video for that.
Why him?
I don't know, but he's in it.
He's, like I said, he's so good. He's the character in this movie that I like the most. It is unfortunate that he's the first one to go.
Yeah, and I like his whole dream sequence as well. It's very jokey and stuff, but I like the surrealness of it.
It's jokey. I don't. Well, okay, we're.
Sorry. So they make it to the town
that's
fair.
What I want to talk about, but we have to get there through a bunch of dumb shit. They make it to the fair and they're walking around. The three of them try to go find a phone, and then we weren't kidding. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold assault them, and they're like, "Oh, we want kids in our house," and it gets a little weird. And then it kind of cuts back to Maggie and John Doe, where he makes the point: "Look, there are no kids." And you look around, and it's like a fair, like a carnival, and there are no children. And in that moment, the movie has the opportunity to be unsettling, but they don't spend any time there. The characters that have noticed that aren't the three stoner bullshit teens, but are the people that are actively paying attention. They then don't care enough to investigate. They don't spend any time there looking for any real answers. They hear a bell ring and everyone kind of looks up to the bell, and it's a church, which is funny because I thought it was going to be the fucking hospital from Dream Master.
Well, it's the school, because that's where they go to investigate the bell.
Did I say
afterwards.
church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I thought the same thing. It looks like a church tower.
Yeah.
But
it's apparently the school. I was hoping it would be the mental hospital where what's his name has the veins and he gets puppeted. Do you remember back when these movies were good?
I do.
Oh man. But so they leave. And they are like, "Hey, kids, drive the van." I guess it's easier instead of cutting back and forth to just explain what happens.
Yeah. We have a van loop that happens here.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen the MGM Plus show From. You see a tree in the road, and then when you turn around and drive away, you end up in this town. And no matter where you leave the town from, you just drive back into the town. Same idea, except this has no tension. The kids are not freaked out about it at all.
No.
There is no revelation that it's impossible for this to have happened and there's something wrong.
Yeah, they just keep like, well, I could have done a better job than this.
It's like the same joke over and over of like, you need to, like, can you give me the map? Now the map is cool.
Again, that's a Carlos bit.
Yeah.
Like
Carlos is sitting in the back and they go, fine, give me the map. And he reaches into his bag and he opens the map, and the map is like already too big. So he opens it again and then he opens it again and he's like, what the fuck is happening? And then the camera cuts back to them and they're like, what are you doing? And it cuts back to Carlos and the map has filled the van and he's like panicking and he tears a piece of it off and he holds it up, and the map again. Do you see what I mean when I'm talking about this movie where it's like, it's got the ball, it's doing a perfect dribble, and then it just fucking pops it with a needle instead of making the shot, because it could have been really cool. It could have been on the map, like where they're located, and then like a bunch of fucking scratches or something. But no, it's in red blood. You're fucked is what it's. Yeah. Wow. Great job, guys.
That feels like the learning with Freddy is fun or whatever.
But even that is like,
it's just
because
like
you're in the school.
Yeah.
There's nothing about that.
No, it's just to set up the line of whenever he snaps out of it and Tracy is just like, I said, give me the map. What does the map say? And he's like, well, the map says we're fucked.
What it could have done, you know what I would have said instead? Dead end. And have dead, like underline dead end.
Yeah.
That would have been great. But no, it's some weird off kilter attempt at being edgy is what it feels like. But eventually they give up and they're like, let's find a place to sleep. And she goes, oh, look, it's my kind of neighborhood, deserted.
Yeah. And I don't know what any of that means.
You've been in multiple deserted neighborhoods? Where? Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Jonestown?
That's where she grew up. She moved from one to the other.
She moved from Chernobyl to Jonestown.
Yeah.
And then from Jonestown to Haddonfield.
Yep.
And then she was like, I can't work as a babysitter.
And then like one summer she was at Camp Blood.
Oh my God, there's a death cruise. Yeah. So that's what they do. They go to the house, and then I guess we should tackle the school because then they converge.
Yeah, it's just a quick little thing. So I like that, like, as they're kind of walking through, and we're back with Maggie and John Doe at this point, as they're kind of walking through the town to the school, like you see in different spots in graffiti and chalk written on the blackboard.
Love this.
Yes. The Freddy rhyme.
Yeah. Because you have the big chalk picture of Freddy.
Yeah.
Which is bad. And it's supposed to look like kids drawing, but it doesn't really.
Yeah.
But yeah, under that, it's got the beginning. I took that down. I think that's the coolest thing that this movie does is them just seeing the rhyme throughout the world.
Because it eventually has the payoff where you see the final line of it.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of waiting for it to happen. But they make it to this classroom where there is a teacher who is lecturing to an empty room.
Whose performance is terrible. He looks like his performance belongs in like iCarly or like, like a children's TV show as like the quirky teacher. And he didn't get any sleep the night before. So he's teaching you the classroom and they all walk in and they go, Mr. Stank, did you not realize we weren't here? And he goes, oh, of course I did. I was practicing. That's his performance is a bit in a fucking children's show. But instead we get him in a horror movie where, again, the main antagonist commits a genocide, but he's doing a silly, like, we're teaching Freddy 101. And it's like,
yeah,
call 911 because I'm going to beat his ass.
Oh my God. Maggie like flips open a giant ledger of some kind that has a bunch of newspaper clippings in it.
Why that's there?
Don't know why.
Fucking scrapbook.
Don't know why she immediately is drawn to it to flip through it. But
the good news is she opens it randomly to a page where with one flip, she finds the newspaper that this clipping is taken from that she has.
Which I don't understand either because the newspaper clipping that she has is like a perfect rectangle of like the clipping, right?
Right.
And it fits into this L shape, this upside down L shape of the torn out piece of the newspaper.
Correct.
So the headline on her piece that she already has says like Kruger woman still missing.
Right.
And then over on the other rest of it, it says like Kruger woman something else. And it's like, but why would there be two different headlines for the same story?
The first headline is Kruger woman seriously fucking missing.
We still can't find her.
Why the fuck aren't you all looking for her? She looks,
in case you missed it right there.
If for some reason if her picture gets cut out, here's a picture of her husband, straight up looks exactly the same.
Probably some kind of sister-wife situation going on.
Maybe they came here from Utah. We tend not to judge.
But I think in this case,
he's a sister fucker.
We should investigate, yeah.
Forget the child murders. Look at his wife. That's at least a cousin.
I hope you're not their kid.
We don't deal with that in Ohio.
But the only bit of information we get out of this is that Freddy apparently had a child.
Yes.
And they took it away from him in 1966.
Because of all the murders.
Yeah. And she was, or they, because we don't know at this point.
Correct.
That they were put in an orphanage. So we cut back to the scene that we really care about, where our trio of kids, they make it to an abandoned house. And then I kind of like this where they go inside. It looks like just a regular house. And like they walk in the front door, and as they close the door, it begins pouring blood on the outside of the door.
And then like the rest of the building rots off.
Yeah.
And it's like a facade, like a second skin that the house sheds. I think the effect is really good. The only complaint that I have about the effect is that the for sale sign outside bursts into flames, but they don't do anything with that.
Nah.
You could burst it into flames, and when it's done, you could have it, be a picture of a blow up doll getting yanked through a window.
Yeah.
But instead, the house falls to pieces and reveals that it is Nancy's house, which is now the Kruger house where things happen. I don't understand.
Yeah. It doesn't. It's a thing that's never been mentioned before, but somehow Nancy moved into Freddy's house.
Right. It is Nancy erasure, and I won't stand for it.
Right.
Yeah. Nancy's the best of us.
We stand a Nancy in this house.
Yeah, we Stancy.
And then they go into this house, and immediately Carlos is like, I'm going to sleep.
Which is so funny because John, before they leave, is like, do not go to sleep. And Carlos walks in and he's like, man, I am two things. I am hard of hearing and I am exhausted. He goes upstairs and he finds this. Again, I love him so much. Any second that he's on screen, I enjoy.
Yeah.
He's also like, he's a good looking kid. Like, I really enjoy his performance. Granted, at the time, he's probably my age now, but I'm going to call him a kid. Makes me feel powerful. But he goes upstairs. He gets this mattress. He like smacks it. And he's like, oh, great. Now I'm going to sleep on this fucking dirty bed. And it is like they covered the bed with chalk, like crumpled chalk, because it's just a dust cloud. And he's like, better than sleeping on the street. And he lays down, and all I can think is like, dust everywhere, not an allergy pill to take. Because like, good Lord, I'd puff up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he falls asleep, I mean, immediately.
Yeah.
And then wakes to hearing Tracy calling his name. And I like this effect where he comes out of the room and walks down the hallway. And as he rounds the corner, it's now like it's like a fusion of sort of like a Cabrini green from Candyman mixed with the hallway of this dilapidated home that he's in. Yeah. And, but it's like now people are like milling about. There's graffiti on the walls. And eventually his mother appears, but as he like turns back to go back into the house, and there's just a brick wall behind him.
The amount of times I've had a dream where I then describe as like, so I'm doing this thing, and then for some fucking reason now I'm here, and it's like that follows pretty well. But they've done that so many times. This is a scene in this movie I don't hate. I like the way that's handled. I like the set pieces here. It feels really busy, like you would expect. It doesn't feel like people just kind of like slowly like, oh, I'm dreaming. It's like he has stepped into a memory, and it feels really good.
Yes. And then his mother appears and is unhappy with him. And she pulls out this giant, she's like, oh, are you not listening to me? I'm going to clean out your ears. And pulls out a giant Q-tip.
My assumption is a child abuse is what led him to be in this home, but also that abuse probably caused his deafness.
Right. Which that's like the most horrifying thing to me is he's like begging his mother in this moment of like, please don't make me deaf.
Yeah.
Like, please. And she turns into Freddy and shoves it into Carlos's ear and then all the way out the other side.
It's like disgusting because like out the other side is like clearly his eardrum is like stuck to the Q-tip.
Yeah.
It's fucking gross.
And then Freddy
laughs and says a bunch of stupid shit.
Yeah, but he cuts off Carlos's ear. And
he says, "Lend me your ear." That's
and
right.
then throws him down into the boiler room.
Mm-hmm. Which is nice to have back.
Yes, and I love the sound design in this entire sequence from here on out because once he cuts the ear off, it's all the sound kind of drops out. You hear, kind of stuff in the background, but it's almost like you have water in your ear or something. Like you can't quite make it out.
Yeah, I hate what Freddy does here, though.
Yeah,
because it's. If he did it once, or if he did it in a way that was like threatening, fine. But he is like literally Looney Tunes acting behind him the entire time. It's just wild.
Yes. He throws him back his like cochlear implant at one point, and he puts it back in, and then it like grows in him like a parasite.
Yeah, and it's like screeching, and it's like clearly alive.
And then once that happens, the sound comes back, but now he is hearing everything at a like deafening roar.
It seems like it's only certain things because he screams to no effect.
Yeah.
Or like Freddy says something and it's not like deafening.
But it's like the sound effects.
Yeah, it's like water droplets.
Yeah. Or the pens that Freddy then drops.
That literally go.
Yeah.
And it's silly. I think that's the curse of this movie is that in the last movie, if they had handled that kill really seriously and like took its time and made it dark and didn't make him Freddy such a fucking ridiculous character, you could make this really effective. The makeup effect for the hearing aid and the things that happen to him are scary, but the guy doing it isn't taking it seriously.
Right.
And so it kind of falls on its face.
Yes. Because like we've talked, I think you've mentioned a couple times where it's like that screeching of Freddy's glove that you just hear throughout these movies, scraping across pipes and things like that. But we don't even really get to play with that here. Like it's all around him. You're in your boiler room. You could do that. And
but they play it as
like
a joke because he pulls out like a little whiteboard or a little blackboard. And then this is a cool,
it's a practical magic effect, I believe.
Yeah. But he pulls the edges of the blackboard and it gets longer. And then he like does one nail across it, like one claw across it. And he's like, huh? And then he does a bunch more and he's like, huh? And then fucking Carlos's head explodes like in Scanners.
Yeah.
Like it is such a dropped ball here because this has all been interesting. I liked all of the set design. I've liked everything up to the point where Freddy gets involved. And then the second Freddy gets involved, it's a fucking farce. They don't do anything cool with it. They have set this world up where he can do anything he wants, and he is literally doing sleight of hand magic tricks to do kills now because they wanted comedy because Wes Craven didn't pick up the
phone. But with him dead, we then move back to Springwood Orphanage where Maggie and John Doe have gone to figure out any information they can get about the Kruger kid. And there's this woman who is like singing to herself and wandering around the orphanage, talking to children that no one can see but her. But she's very happy to see John Doe and Maggie.
Recognizes them both.
Yes. And whenever they ask information about the Kruger child, she like stiffens and it's just like, well, we're not allowed to give any information about, that's private. And so she won't disclose anything there. And Maggie, again, is just kind of drawn to the thing that's going to give them an answer, where she picks up a kid drawing that is signed by a initial K Kruger. And then JD thinks that he must then be the Kruger kid.
Because his name is Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so as they go to leave, then Tracy pulls up in the van, having left the house, going to look for Carlos because he has like disappeared from the house.
Right.
And then we move into Spencer's TV dream, where Spencer, if we haven't said before, is a stoner.
He's a stoner. Freddy kills him with psychedelic. He lures him into the television through like psychedelic set pieces, which all look really like middle school play. It's like a bunch of lit up scrims in the background. And it's like, what I do like is that as he's watching the TV, the broken TV, stoned out of his mind, it seems like all of Freddy's victims are all like pounding on the glass. And then Carlos's spirit comes to the front and is like, do not fall asleep.
Yeah. I like that little moment there.
And then he's like, I am going to go to sleep.
And then Johnny Depp shows up.
So fucking funny. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. And then Freddy hits him in the face with a frying pan.
Yeah.
It's like, again, that's funny, but weird to be right now.
Yeah. And it's a little cameo here. He's not playing Glenn. He's just,
as far as we can tell, he's Johnny Depp.
Yeah. He's doing because that was the thing at the time. There was a bunch of those sorts of ads with celebrities doing, this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah.
In our time, it would be the Got Milk ads.
Do you?
Do I got milk?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I do. Because I just had a baby. I just had a dream child.
Oh my God.
You didn't expect me to go there.
I did not.
Because I'm a man.
But Spencer is then sucked into the TV kind of in a similar way that the character is sucked into the comic book in the last movie.
Yeah.
But then they don't do anything interesting with that.
No. And also a stupid fucking detail that you wouldn't think matters. When he is getting scolded by his drunk tennis dad in the beginning, he's playing a baseball handheld video game.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's the video game kid.
He loves TV and video games.
He hasn't said that he loves either of those things.
No.
The only thing that his character loves is smoking marijuana out of joints that he has rolled.
And sleeping on a dirty couch.
Well, and the most important thing, pipe bombs.
Yeah.
He loves pipe bombs. I can't believe there's a fucking payoff to the pipe bomb. But yeah, so he's sucked into the TV. And then
he's like in a side-scrolly video game and then Freddy is playing.
Freddy is sitting feet, like boots crossed up onto a desk with like an Atari joystick. And he is playing Spencer in the game. And it is just the most boring. And it goes on for so long.
A lot of one-liners.
And also, you're in the 90s at this point. There's zero excuse to not make a video game for a movie that looks like a video game if you expect it to be like 16-bit, 32-bit. Like somebody could crank out a pre-programmed scene like that in a week. And instead it's like this weird cartoon. You ever heard of the cartoon home movies?
Yeah, from Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Like the early days of Adult Swim.
That's what this like video game looks like. It's like
I
shitty
get
hand-drawn characters.
I get that. Okay.
And Freddy like bounces him around, but then in the real world, and they've all met up at this point.
Yeah.
They're all in the house together and they're watching Spencer get like weirdly manipulated around the house, and it looks terrible.
Yeah, there's literal like Scooby-Doo sounding like Looney Tunes sound effects as he bounces around the house and
like yeah, it's ridiculous. And so then this is the part of this movie that makes me the angriest.
That is fair.
The part that happens right now upset me so much that I paused the movie and took the note that I was taking. I'm not going to read the note, but it's just to remind me. At this point, what happens is John Doe says, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to save him. And she's like, well, how? And he's like, just take this and knock me out. And she goes, well, Doc has an easier way to do this. He's a dream therapist. He's taught me how to do this. And he goes, just take it. And like he slaps her. Yeah. So she beats the fuck out of him. He hits the table. Like she hits him so hard, he flies out of his shoes, right? Mm-hmm. He smashes in the table and then goes through it into the dream. Fine. He then looks around and she's there. And she's like, see, I told you there was an easier way to do this. And the fact that they can enter Spencer's dream completely invalidates the last three movies.
Yes.
It makes the narrative of those movies completely useless.
That makes more sense whenever the original idea was that he was going to be Alice's kid.
Would make perfect sense.
But whenever
she does it.
And whenever, because it would also make more sense if like Doc, we got any more information about him and he had some connection to all of that. Yeah. But it's like, it's so fleeting for like, those pieces of information.
There are people out there blessed with the ability to dream walk. Mm-hmm. I had to learn how, and it took me my entire life. Great. There's nothing. They completely disregard the narrative of the entire franchise up to this point.
Yes.
That you cannot go into someone else's dream and then Kristen can. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes the third movie impactful. And then the fourth movie, that power passes to Alice. And then in the fifth movie, that power unfortunately now lies within the dreams of her unborn child. All of that narrative was why I like those movies. Mm-hmm. And it's all gone for the sake of, well, fuck, what do we do now? I don't know. They just go into the dream.
Yeah.
We do that shit in these movies. It feels like Michael DeLuca didn't read these or watch these movies before he shat a script out.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Talalay should fucking know better. Her and Jack Shoulder, real pieces of shit. Anyway, every time I think of a piece of shit, by the way, in these movies, I think of Jack Shoulder. But
that's good.
They catch Freddy and he's in like an office.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks like fucking Danny DeVito's office in Taxi.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
And like they go up to the thing and they like bang on the glass. And then he kicks open the door and he walks down and he's a lot shorter than what he appeared.
Yeah, but Freddy overdoes it and he's like 2.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
And they're like, Ant-Man. And they shove him up Thanos. Anyway, and they snatch the controller out of his hand and then he slams the door shut and he's like, you forgot about the Power Glove. And you look down at his forearm and he's got like a Nintendo Power Glove concept, but it's got like a bunch of like, and I don't hate the design of this. If what it wasn't so fucking stupid, the idea that Freddy's Power Glove is like a bunch of like maintenance switches and like hardware buttons that would exist in like a construction site. I like that. I think that's neat. He then controls Spencer to like jump and hit his head on a bunch of stuff. And he's literally going boing, 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 boing. And it's like, I want to turn this movie off again.
Yeah. This is where it really falls apart for me. Cause I don't think I've hated it before this point. And it's this whole cartoony bit in the middle that has just,
It is to the point where I've always loved the character Freddy Krueger. Since I've watched these films, I always thought like, he's funny, he's interesting, he's compelling. Even at his worst written, it's still interesting.
Yeah.
And then you get here and I'm screaming at the TV like, shut the fuck up. Like it's too much. And it is way too much.
Yes. But Freddy eventually causes Spencer to fall into one of his, tunnels into hell or whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
And then it shows his soul is then absorbed into Freddy.
Right.
And we see that a couple more times because there's not a lot of kills in this movie. There's as many as there were in the last film, which is another thing that people complained about. Is just the lack of death in your slasher movie. I like the practical effect of the smashed TV that then fills with blood.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like it's a cool image. And Tracy like jumps up and does like a spinny thing in the air to Freddy and then kicks him in the nuts. And then they just are pulled out of the dream.
It is strange how many times in this franchise Freddy Krueger is like fist fighting children. That there's like a child who just beats the shit out. Like even in Dream Warriors, the chick with the knives like beats the shit out of him. And he's like, oh, fuck, stop.
Take all these drugs.
How did you know that my only weakness was getting my ass kicked?
Well, and that's why the Peter Jackson script would have been amazing.
Oh my God. Can you just imagine? Let's take a second to think right now. Movie opens and a bunch of kids are like, cheers. And they drink a bunch of shots and they all have a sleeping pill in them.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch
of beanbag chairs all over the floor.
Well, and you can see like a bunch of smashed pinatas that all look like him and bats. And they were clearly practicing. And they wake up in the dream and Freddy looks over and he's got this big, long, white, patchy beard and his hat's all tattered and he's bruised to shit. And he looks up and he goes, oh, fuck. And he tries to run. And they're like, how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
A much better film.
Much better film. Thanks, Peter Jackson.
Yeah. He would go on to work with Robert Shea.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, man.
Where they beat the shit out of Gandalf.
Yeah. But Maggie and Tracy, they grab, John Doe is still asleep. And so they grab him and throw him in the van and they drive away. And then we get another John Doe falling dream where, of course, they had that set of the house.
Right.
And they're using it again.
They could get their fucking money's worth. They only had 9 million.
He wakes up, or 11. It could have been 11. But he wakes up in his room and he goes to the window, just like in the opening scene. But it's this picturesque 1960s neighborhood back when America was great.
Oh, no.
What?
Canceled.
And then the house just shoots into space.
Yeah.
So I guess it's falling in reverse. It's like Doctor Doom's Fear Fall, but the tower that shoots you up instead of drops you down.
All hail Dr. Doom.
And then he wakes up again, and he's still in his bed, and he's like, "Nope, I'm just not getting out of this bed then." And so the bed catches on fire.
Honestly, I truly laughed out loud at that. I thought that was genuinely funny.
Yeah, that's a good little moment. And then he jumps out the window and begins falling, and he has a parachute for some reason. And then whenever he pulls it, he looks up into the parachute, and Freddy is just kind of like floating around in there.
It's like, "What's up, Bridge?"
And he comes down, and JD in that moment is like, "I know why you let me go. It's because I'm your kid." And Freddy's like, "Oh no. You're not my kid."
He's like, "I didn't have some piece of shit boy named Jacob." And he's like, "What?"
But yeah, and so he lets him know that the reason he kept him around is so that he would bring back his daughter. And then he cuts the parachute straps, and so JD falls again.
Yeah.
And then we have a Wile E. Coyote Bugs Bunny moment of Freddy pushes a giant bed of spikes into the middle of the street.
It's also the third time where Freddy does something and looks right in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's Deadpool. It's like edgy and surrealist, and it's like, but it just doesn't work. By the way, I don't think it works in Deadpool either. I don't like that shit. Keep the separation of the screen. So for Freddy to do it, because it's like a long wheelbarrow filled with razor blades.
Yeah.
Like circular saw blades.
And he lands on it. John lands on that. And like he's dying in real life in that point, like in Maggie's arms, because they've stopped again right at the edge of town where this whole thing started.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Maggie, like his dying breath is that Freddy's kid is a girl. And then we see JD's soul absorbed into Freddy, who then, for whatever reason, is like, "Oh, I'm going to get out of Springwood now." And then he blue skidoos into Maggie's head.
Which, tell me you didn't think that it was like, "Oh, he's in control of her body now." Because she looks like super awkward and she's not saying anything.
Right. And then we don't do anything with that.
Yeah, really quick, I have to correct you on one thing. Because you said what would have made sense, which is John Doe saying it's not a boy or it's a girl, but he doesn't. He just goes, "It's not a boy," and then he dies. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because like that's the mystery that Maggie would then have to fucking go on to solve.
Yeah,
because she like sees him saying that and she's like, "It must be a girl," and it's like, well, you only have two other options at that point. It's either somebody who's non-binary or a girl, and it was the 80s.
Yeah, it was the early 90s. I don't think we were talking too much about that at the time.
No, and now we're not anymore either because you go to Alligator Alcatraz if you live in Florida.
Yeah.
We're going to be just fine, you and me.
It's going to be
everybody.
Going to be great. We're
Freddy's dead.
Freddy's dead, guys. And then Maggie and Tracy drive away. And as they like cross the threshold of that line leaving Springwood, like the force field shatters.
And it looks terrible.
But then they just keep driving. Like nothing really happens after that.
I think it's supposed to be symbolic.
Yeah.
But man, I am telling you, the amount of plugins, like I said, the video toaster effects that happen from this point on, you're creeping into B movie territory.
Yeah.
It's rough in these mean streets.
They make it back to the shelter and no one there remembers John Doe, Carlos, or Spencer.
Which is another Twilight Zone thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Them going to the town and the weird carnival, like that all feels like Twilight Zone to me.
A lot of the movie does, but the problem is that, okay, the reason it works in Twilight Zone is because Twilight Zone has two things going for it. Number one, the story is cohesive. Number two, it is environmentally perfect. Everything about the environment that it is being shot in is perfect. It's creepy. It's black and white. Their score is really unsettling, and it unsettles you. If you had that episode of the Twilight Zone where the pilots keep disappearing out of reality one by one, there's 3 pilots, and they come back, and by the end of it, the newspaper shows that there were no survivors, because that's what this reminded me of. If there was, every time one of them started to disappear, if Robert Englund in a rubber mask came out and was like, that sounded like Mr. Krabs. Fine, if Mr. Krabs came out and was like, and they vanished, you'd be like, what the fuck was that? You'd take it a lot less seriously.
Yeah.
This is my thesis for my doctorate, by the way, is what if Mr. Krabs was in the Twilight Zone?
I can't wait to read it.
We cut to a crab, miserly and Scrooge-like.
They meet with Doc, and he can remember everybody because he can control his dreams.
Quote, I'm in control of my dreams.
And he's like, Freddy didn't just kill them, he erased them, which is why no one else can remember.
Which is a power that heretofore Freddy has never used.
Nope. And then Tracy, she's like fight training. We see that earlier in the film, and so she's doing it here. And she has a little moment with Doc where he's like, yeah, you're training your body, but what you need to be training is your mind, because that's where he's going to get you.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Yeah.
You could lift that right out of the movie. It wouldn't change a fucking thing.
Wouldn't change a thing. Maggie freaks out about JD's last words and goes to see her mother, who I don't even know if we ever see this woman's face. She apparently had a larger role in the movie originally, and they trimmed it out because I think this movie was longer. They didn't cut this one for any sort of like gore or anything. They just cut it for time.
Do you think John Malkovich played her mom and they cut it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. What a career.
Just keeps happening. Yeah. It's a real shame being John Malkovich. But she finds her adoption paperwork, and her mother does not know who her biological parents were. So we have our flashback dream where we fill in, she's back in the backyard. The man's chasing the little girl around. Here's the woman scream. And then it's revealed that Fred Krueger has a happy life in the 1960s with a wife and a daughter.
And a sister.
And his sister is also his wife. And she was snooping around in the basement and found his
like secret murder lair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't worry, I won't tell. And he's like, I think you're gonna.
Now, one thing I want to point out here that isn't important in any way, but it is just a sign of the ineptitude of the production of this movie.
Okay.
Freddy has his arms wrapped around her throat and he is throttling her, but the sound effect is punches. Over and over. It's like, psh, 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 and then camera's panning out and you see, and he is just like smashing her head into the ground, but it's dirt, and both of his hands are on her neck. And it's like, who's punching? Is it a cartoon playing inside?
Yeah. It's unrelated.
Oh, got it.
That was a different domestic dispute next door.
It was the 60s, back when America was great.
Yeah.
It's probably the cop beating up a minority, because that was when America was great.
Yeah. But we're going back.
Can we dig our heels in any harder? This has been a great episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good one. We started talking about Easter.
People are going to love this one.
Yeah.
But he sends his daughter inside, who then goes down into the basement to then go into the house, but she stops because the murder closet has opened, and she goes in there and she sees a bunch of like what I assume are prototype or other type gloves that he has made.
Which I like that.
I like that.
One of them is like, it's instead of claws, it's like corkscrews. which is like, ew.
Yeah. It's just, and it's kind of like it plays in a little bit of like the medieval torture stuff that he's done in like the dreams a little bit of like he's tried different things for different kills, I guess.
And it always looks like kind of almost John Kramer-y, like a little homemade.
Yeah.
So I like seeing like, oh yeah, and then by the time I got to this one, I found the right length of the blade. I've sharpened them the right way. I've connected them to gloves so I can do these murders in the way that I like. And it gives his human history a little bit of gross background.
Yeah.
Which they use more in Freddy versus. I feel that's where it's cooler and better done.
Absolutely. There are several things in this movie that then kind of get repurposed in much better ways in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah. But she inevitably goes back to the youth center.
Yeah. Well, Maggie appears in this dream as like she's in like a baby doll dress,
which is weird.
It's very weird.
But remember, he's not a child molester.
No. Not in this franchise. No. Not yet. No. But he calls her Catherine, which is where the K Kruger comes in from the thing earlier. And so, yeah, like you had said earlier, he they took you away from me, so I took all of their children from them. And they end up, he like opens up the basement doors and he's like, oh, I'm going to start again. And they're at the shelter. And it's a cool line to me of every town has an Elm Street.
Yeah. It just doesn't mean anything. It's a cool line, but like, what do you mean? What is your plan? Why are you doing this? Why did you need your daughter? What does she give you?
Yeah, I don't know why he needed the daughter. Why was it that, so he was stuck in Springwood.
Right.
But whenever she came there, then he could hop into her brain for some reason, and that allowed him to ride with her out of town to the next town over, where he could then start again.
I guess.
But there's no real reason given.
Why is he locked in Springwood?
I don't know.
Right. That's what I'm saying is that you are establishing a plot based on needing to break rules that are set on your antagonist, but you then don't go into any of them, who put them there, or why you need your daughter to get out of the rules.
Yeah.
So it's a half story, and it's a bad one. We got the bad half.
Tracy has a dream about her father.
Yes.
This again, kind of with the Carlos thing where he like walks and rounds the corner and it becomes a different place. She's like washing her face in the sink. And I like this because she like, camera follows her down to the sink. She's splashing water on her face. And then when she comes back up, behind her in the mirror is now a different location. And she is in her childhood home.
Reminds me of whatever Alice's brother's name in Dream Master in the bathroom.
Very similar there.
He's a creep. He talks about giving daddy honey, which is obviously, it's obviously an aside to molestation, which is tragic and horrible. But yeah, she beats the fucking shit out of him
with like an electric kettle.
And then his face is like, he looks like a Floop from Spy Kids.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, what does that remind me of? I was going to go with like, he looks like a Dick Tracy villain.
Okay. Yeah. Also, yes.
Yeah. And then he turns into Freddy, which that also is a cool transition to me.
So good.
Because we see, it's like the camera comes around the left-hand side of the dad because he, sticks his Freddy arm out. He has the glove and the sleeve of the sweater, and the camera pushes past. And then when it turns back, he's just Freddy standing there, but it's all in one fluid motion.
Yeah.
It's a great little reveal.
No, it is. But she survives this encounter with him.
Right.
Which is interesting because like clockwork, kids experience this thing and then die in this film, but the third one doesn't. Technically this is the fourth because John Doe, but yeah, she survives.
Yeah. Kind of in a similar way to Nancy in the first one. Like she burns her wrists over the stove where Nancy burned her arm on the pipe.
Mm-hmm. It's a good little callback in a movie that doesn't deserve to be able to do that.
Right. And then we move quickly into Doc's dream, where Doc is then looking for Tracy, and he hears her calling for help, but it is a trick.
Yeah.
This is where our clip comes in. Mm-hmm. Doc beats Freddy with a baseball bat.
That's what I'm saying. Freddy's weakness is getting fucking hit with blunt objects. Fists, bats, kettles, doesn't matter. Kick the shit out of him for more than 5 minutes and you win.
Mm-hmm.
But
he kind of does the like cutting his finger off bit again,
which
it's
I like.
all references, but I like that. And I like the references to, they tried to do this, but it didn't work.
Then it immediately falls apart when he says, the dream people, they're the ones that gave me this job. And it's like, go and fuck yourself forever. That is so stupid. It sounds stupid. It looks stupid.
Yeah. It could be interesting. The idea is interesting, but the way that it's handled is not.
But even saying this job, like it's implicative that the things that Freddy Krueger has done in all of these movies is somehow like a responsibility.
Well, yeah, he has a quota that he has to make.
Right, of tickets and murders.
Yeah.
And
it's because he had applied for this thing. He had to get references.
Well, and they're about to defund it.
Yeah.
The goddamn Democrat. What is up with us tonight? Man, I'm pissed about the world.
Yeah.
That's my nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually Nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue. So,
Doc rips a piece of Freddy's sweater off again, and then pops out. He controls himself out of the dream.
Yeah,
which is
like an instrument.
Yes, it like the alarm goes off, and it like triggers him to get out, and
which is neat.
Yeah. It's again, I think the Doc character is really interesting. I think there are interesting ideas in here, and they don't do the things that we want them to.
The interesting things are like pepperonis, but instead of being on a pizza, it's just on a pizza box. I can't eat this. I can have those, I guess, but
every once in a while I have a pepperoni. That's nice.
Yeah, you put 6 pepperonis in a box.
Yeah.
But then for some reason, because of this fucking podcast, I have to eat the box anyway.
Here we are.
Cheers.
We move to our finale, thankfully, here.
Yeah.
Doc comes up with the same plan that Nancy came up with, which is, if I could pull this out, you could go in there, grab him, pull him out of the dream.
Yeah.
And then we just fight him in the real world.
But one thing that's different is he's going to try to trick you with visuals, which is like, yeah, makes sense. That's what he does. And it's like, so take these and put these on. And they're 3D glasses. Now, I'm watching this, and I did not know that this film had a 3D element to its release at all. Right. No idea. And I'm watching it, and she puts on the 3D glasses, and they like dissolve into her face. Then she takes her hand, and she turns it around, and she's like moving it. And it's the camera trick. And I was like, well, I will give them credit. It took them a lot longer to do this obvious, pathetic cash grab than Friday the 13th did.
Yeah.
But it's still pathetic and cheapens the movie, which is hard to do. So I'll ignore all the 3D elements because they're bad and stupid. And I think that that's a cheap gimmick.
Yes.
But she puts it on and she's like, this lets me see into Freddy's brain. And then she like...
She walks through the poster of the dream demon things on the wall has now become like a physical archway.
And it's like stop motion. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I like this little like stop motion-y mini, miniature that they use here.
The design of these demons is stupid.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
I like it okay on the poster itself, like that they're like snakes.
Yeah.
But then once they're just kind of floating around.
They have like little spines and they're made of electricity. It's really stupid. But this is a note that I took because I really wanted to mention this because I think it's really stupid. She goes into the dream she goes into his brain and it's like this awesome kind of digital 3D visual effect that I really like, where it's like a bunch of what looks like biomass kind of webbed into neurons, but that are like rotten and gross. And as you go, it's like every time she would like go to enter what looks like a natural cavern in this area, like metal prison doors would shut in her face. And then eventually she finds like the center of it and she goes into it. And then it just turns into a Doctor Who set. It's like a checkered tiled floor with shitty, ugly plaster Colosseum like pillars.
It makes me think of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, whenever they go down into the destroyed subway center.
But that looks what it reminds me of, that's a good poll. I think that's accurate. It reminds me of like a daytime television, like a soap opera that has like an ancestral moment of like, if a soap opera had to do a day in Greece, because it's like tapestry and it just looks so, and you had this awesome thing and like the walls are like brain material. Make the whole fucking set that.
Yeah.
But no, they had to do the cheap option Because Rachel Talalay spent all that fucking money on Billy Zane.
Who then steps through a bunch of these doors and pops into these little moments in Freddy's life.
Very quickly, he has a gerbil in his classroom and he smashes it with a hammer. I think it's a rat. Then Alice Cooper, his father.
Yeah, his adopted Edward Underwood is the character's name. But Freddy's adoptive father.
And my dad used to make this joke. I swear to Christ, it's a joke. I swear it's a joke.
Are we going to learn something right here?
My dad used to make this joke and he would say, you know what my dad used to say? My dad used to say, you beat your kids every day. Doesn't matter if they did something wrong. You beat them anyway, because then they learn that the beatings are only going to be worse if you did something wrong. And he used to make that joke because, you know, his dad, my dad's dad passed away when he was 16. But he was very calm with it. He had 6 kids.
Wow.
He's very calm with all of them. He was a great dad, according to my father. But my father thought it was funny that he would be this because he was a war vet. He fought in World War II, that he would just be this crazy guy who's got his belt in his hand all the time. And so then that came to fruition, that joke of my dad's, when he walks downstairs and he's literally just got his belt off and he's like, you ready? And it's like, you do this every day? Alice Cooper, do you beat Freddy Krueger every day?
Every day.
And then teen Freddy Krueger says, pain's only effective if you feel it. Once you stop feeling it, you can start using it. And it's like, that makes no fucking sense to this character or any of the movies before or his, what does that mean? He doesn't use pain. He uses dreams to inflict pain. Pain's not his obsession. That's Pinhead.
Yeah.
It's a cool line.
It's a cool line. It just doesn't mean a whole lot in this sense.
It's just that disappoints me because so far the lines that are cool of his build on to the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. Is it 100?
100, which the kids in the earlier memory chant at him.
That's true. Fair enough.
So, and then the third memory is the Springwood parents burning Freddy alive in his boiler room.
Yeah.
And then the dream demons appearing to him and immediately just being like, you want in?
And then they fly into him in a terrible visual effect, and his performance is all over the map right here. And it really is just horribly embarrassing. It looks so bad. All of it. The visual effect, the voice performance for the little monsters are like, you want in? It sounds like something out of Beetlejuice. It's terrible.
Yeah. This sequence does kind of remind me of Beetlejuice with the going through the different doors and flashing into these different universes and stuff. But eventually we flash back to the little girl and finding her father, Fred Krueger killing his wife. And then Maggie appears and grabs Freddy to try and pull him out of the dream. And then he grabs onto these pipes in the basement to hold on. And then his head starts swelling up.
It looks like the fucking character in Little Nicky who gets tits on his head.
Yes, it does.
So that's the question. We stand a long arm Freddy, but do you prefer a tit head long arm Freddy?
It's funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, because his arms stretch out and we get to see just a little taste.
So we get long arm titty. Because I
I
believe that long arm titty head Freddy is probably the best Freddy.
Probably your favorite.
Now,
if he was wearing sunglasses,
that's what I was going to say.
Whew. And a tailcoat.
Yeah, so tuxedo sunglasses, long arm titty head Freddy is the perfect Freddy.
Sexy.
And he cuts off his fingers.
But yeah, she wakes up in the real world. Freddy's not there.
No.
And so they instead grab a bunch of weapons and they
go to the basement where they know he is.
Yep, he's down. Well, the weapons are down there. And then she just kind of okay, I got this bat that someday they're going to use in The Walking Dead. And then, where might Freddy? Oh, there he is. And just in the corner of the room, there he is.
And this is the second Nightmare on Elm Street movie that we can make a direct parallel to the weird train station Voldemort baby. Because he's laying on the ground on top of a cardboard box, fetal position. He's like, it's not my fault.
And he's not burned. He's just his regular. He's got like a cut on his cheek for some reason.
And he's like, you saw what they did to me as a kid. And it's like, well, no, we didn't. We saw your dad threaten to hit you when you were almost a grown ass man. When you were a kid, we watched you kill a rodent. What do you mean? It's like, oh, did you guys not read the script before you wrote the dialogue for this?
No, they did not.
Well, it would be impossible to do that.
Yeah.
It implies that you would be competent enough to follow your own story as you continue to write it.
Yeah. But they fight a bit, and she ends up knocking his glove off with the bat.
Yeah.
And then picks it up. And Freddy is like climbing around on the ceiling for a second, and he closes the gate to lock them on one side of this basement away from Doc and Tracy.
And then he goes on to say a bunch of dialogue about what he wants. None of it expands the story at all.
Mm-hmm.
It all just retreads the ground of half answers and poor, story construction. It does nothing for the movie at all. And then literally here's the next thing that happens. What is the girl's name?
Tracy.
Thank you. Tracy goes, "Hey, Maggie, look, there's a hole in the gate." And then she hands her weapon after weapon after weapon.
She empties out that closet.
It is a knife, shurikens, like a fucking crossbow.
Yep.
And fucking Maggie just throws with expert skill, by the way.
Oh,
but remember, they're not in the dream. So
no,
how the fuck this happens, I don't know. But she assaults him with 9 or 10 throwing weapons and shoots him with a fucking crossbow.
And she's like pinned him up now against a pillar and a crate.
Right. And he's like, ow, quote, "Ow, I forgot how bad it hurts to be human."
Which is a little like Chucky whenever he gets put back in like in either Bride or Seed.
But if you pull him out of the dream world and he becomes human and he can feel the pain, then that also happened in Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2. Because he gets pulled out of the dream in both of those.
Yeah.
And then is then injured in both.
Well, remember whenever they disregarded everything that had come before it whilst referencing everything that came before it?
So then at one point, sorry, I was trying to move past what you said, but yeah, no, I do remember that. It makes me really furious. The bit's gone because of my rage. Yeah, no. And then
she like puts the glove on. He like goads her into putting the glove on.
Be just like me, bitch.
And yeah, it's like they're having this, moment, and then she just like runs over and stabs him in the gut with it.
And he dies.
And then Tracy throws her the lit pipe bomb.
Right.
That she shoves into his chest, and they run away.
He explodes, and in the most embarrassing fiasco of poorly constructed visual effects I have ever seen, he explodes, and then his head goes flying off towards the screen. His mouth opens, and another one of his heads comes out of his mouth. That happens 2 more times, and eventually that explodes into the dream people that vanish. In a 3D effect.
Yeah. I'm sure it was great in theaters.
Better than Avatar, baby.
And then Maggie, Tracy, and Doc run out into the hallway to catch their breath. The 3D glasses finally reappear on her face. So everyone at home can take theirs off now.
Which makes sense because you don't want to get your vision hurt when the movie switches back from 3D to regular vision so that somebody can ask, well, what happened? And Maggie can say, "Freddy's dead," and then credits roll.
Yeah. Then over those credits, we do get highlights of all the kills and special effects moments from the entire franchise.
I wonder if you thought the same thing I did when you saw that. Because I took a note on this. I've never taken a note for credits before.
Interesting.
My note reads, "How fucking dare they use footage from earlier movies in the credits for this flaming pile of shit?"
It's that thing of they were treating this as the final nightmare. This is the last time we're gonna wrap it all up with a bow. We're gonna give this whole thing.
So they want the sizzle reel at the end. I understand, but
it's I don't know if I assume the Star Trek movies had like happened at this point, like the original motion picture through whatever number it goes to, and then because they have like the big sign off at the end. And for those original like Kirk and Spock in them, it's the same thing they did at the end of Avengers Endgame, where they have like the main 6, like you see their signatures and you kind of get these flashes of like, this is the last time we're going to see these people all together
until 4 years from now.
Yeah. But this is like we tonight in this conversation, I think, have written better versions of what a final Friday movie could have been.
we have spent more time discussing the dialogue of this movie, the characters of this movie, and what we think they should grow into and be, their performances, what they needed. We spent more time pre-producing, producing, writing, directing, and then post-producing this movie than they did. And we are famously idiots.
Yeah. Not talented.
Me more than you. I'm the biggest idiot in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a best of the Bay for that?
Yeah, I lost it.
Oh, God.
Because I didn't know how to apply it because I'm an idiot. Derek, do you recommend Freddy's Dead?
You know, now that we've really talked it out, I don't recommend Freddy's Dead. Do you recommend?
No, I don't.
The Final Nightmare.
Did our conversation kind of pull you back down and make you remember that this is a giant piece of shit and there's nothing positive about it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like, I'm still kind of on the first half doesn't bother me. Like, I think it bothers you.
Yeah.
It's once Carlos is out of the picture, and it's once that video game sequence happens, because it's like Freddy is then just like talking to the screen, and I love fourth wall breaks. I love meta shit. That's why I really enjoy where we go with New Nightmare.
I like meta shit for the sake of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like meta shit for the sake of being edgy.
Yeah.
Because that's all this movie does. That's my problem with the Deadpool movie too, is like the character's well done. Ryan Reynolds apparently is a giant piece of shit, but his performance is great. But it gets edgier and edgier. And it's like, oh my God, isn't he so random? And after a while, it gets heavy to deal with. And I feel the same way about this one.
Yeah.
The more he winks and nods at the camera, the more I'm just like, man, do you remember when this character was fucking terrifying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember his smile when because we mentioned Long Arm Freddy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember his smile at Nancy and then he cuts his fucking fingers off for no fucking reason and he bleeds green acid and just stares at her? It's fucking Art the Clown.
Yeah.
It is that I'm doing this because it scares you and that's hilarious.
Yeah. That is the most Art the Clown performance there from Freddy.
I think Art the Clown is, and I mentioned this to you because we watched Terrifier 2.
Mm-hmm.
Art the Clown is a perfect modern rendition of if you mixed like Jigsaw, Freddy Krueger, and like Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I can't think about it in this episode. Quick, Derek, how do we end this episode?
I feel like I had like pinned something in the conversation where I was like, oh, I can make a joke about that at the end. We could bring it all back to that thing, but it's gone, man. I mean, just Third Channel Podcast is dead.
Thanks for tuning into the Third Channel Podcast. Please, if you have the time, rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps.
You can follow us on social media at Third Channel Podcast, and you can find me online at thatdrosenberg.
You can also reach out to us at thirdchannelpodcast@gmail.com, where we check every message we swear. Third Channel is hosted by PJ Minette
and Derek Rosenberg. Theme song and audio engineering by Fly Guy Ty.
The logo designed by Belle DeVelco.
Episode artwork by Nathan Walkington.
Keep it tuned right here to the Third Channel for all things horror. And remember, don't touch that dial.
Egg salad and eggs.